Hello, thank you for joining me on this video. I'm providing this video to hopefully help you through this week's content. I'm going to start with what I think is a useful reminder and something that a reminder that I continue to provide throughout the semester. That's in reference to accessing the book. So when you see a link, the particular screen you're looking at might be slightly different, but when you see a link that I've provided that takes you to the textbook, for example, this one right here, when you click that link, it may remember who you are and take you straight there. However, sometimes you'll get here and it'll say you can start a free trial, or it may actually ask you to sign up for O'Reilly and pay. So when you see that, instead of worrying, go straight to the library website, libraries.etsu.edu. Search for Safari here. Maybe even type Safari Books. It will search, and when that search is complete, scroll down toward this way, and you'll see Safari Books Online. Click there, and you will be taken to this login. You have to be logged in this way to avoid being prompted to sign up for a free trial or to pay. So once you sign in, you have full access to O'Reilly Books / Safari Books, so that when you click those links that I provide to your textbook, you'll no longer be blocked out. Let me get back to our eLearn site. Go to the proper class. And here we are. These links should work now. Another thing I'll point out, for example, in this week's material, you're asked to read chapters 7 through 10, but some of the quiz questions may come from earlier readings. So I'm going to give you a couple of tips here that might help you when you're looking for a specific term. I don't know any specific terms that I'm going to be searching for right away. Let me see if I have any notes on something I might search. So I'm going to go ahead and click the link and go to the book. So for example, if the week's reading says to read chapter 7, you can navigate to each chapter this way. It's an interesting way to view a book, to where the whole chapter is on one page down through here. There's chapter 5, chapter 6. Okay, so it takes you to an intro to part 2 of the book. I'm going to get to chapter 7. So chapter 7 is going to cover a certain amount of material. Looks like I have highlighted some things there. So for example, if I know the quiz is primarily based on chapter 7 and 10, I might want to keep those handy. I could keep chapter 7 handy here, and maybe even keep chapter 10 handy here. 7, 8, 9, 10. Here's chapter 10. Here's chapter 7. 2 different tabs. Actually, I'm on chapter 6. So I'm going to move one more. I'm on chapter 7. Here I'm chapter 9. What's showing in the center is actually the chapter you're on. This right here. All right, let's say I want to look for a word here in this chapter. I'm just going to scroll down and choose one for now. Table of contents. So to search this page, which ideally should include all of chapter 10, I can do Control F. And this is, you may be familiar with this on your browser. And then I type what I'm searching for here. And so apparently there's quite a bit of, that's on here quite a bit on this page. So, but I can use that and go through each individual one. Let's see if that same content is used here. Control F, table of contents. Why, it is in chapter 7 as well. Let's see if it's in chapter 6. So it's only on one time on this page. The main point I'm making here, though, is that use that feature to help you with finding the content you're looking for on a specific page. But what if I'm looking for something? Let's say I'm in chapter 7. And I want to find formatting marks. Well, that's not in chapter 7. I can also use this search bar that searches the book and look for that term. And it tells me other places in the book that that's referenced, and I can view those other places. Let's see, that's taking me to the index, which ain't bad because I can click on that page now. 144. It's loading. I assume it's loading. I click it again. I double clicked. So this must be the page I'm looking for. Now if I do Control F, formatting marks. Ah, look, it is there. So it's just some techniques to help you find content in the textbook. Okay, I'm going to move on to concepts that I think will help you with this week's assignment. And that is part of this week's lecture, which is formatting a document. I'll just minimize these for now. So actually, I'm going to go back to our D2L e-learning site. Just another quick reminder on navigation here. Course home normally will take you directly to the news feed. I try to give you as much information as I can in the news feed. So be sure to scroll down through there in case my latest post, for example, this one, has hidden this important one, which is kind of a checklist for week 8. This intro video will actually end up being what I'm recording right now. So it's not there yet if you've looked. But although you could actually probably complete the material without this video, hopefully the material I provide here will be helpful to you. Just a quick reminder, content is here. Often, so here's week 8. Often once you have been here, it may return you to this section and you might have to go over here and click week 8 here. Again, this video may or may not refer specifically to week 8. But the concept is the same, that if you get kind of stuck into these learning activities, which is a subcategory of week 8, you can click on the main category and get back to seeing everything listed. In my view, isn't exactly right. It should look more like this. Content. There we are. Next, communications here. Here's our discussions. That's always something we'll be doing every week. Sometimes that will be linked in the content, but if not, you can find it there. In a similar manner, under evaluation, you have assessments, which is often where your quizzes can be found. And you have Dropbox, which is where you are asked to turn in an assignment. If you're having trouble using the Dropbox, please start on your assignments early so I can help you with the Dropbox before the due date. Now, to formatting a document. I have a blank document here. For this particular assignment in the course, you're asked to use an assignment from earlier in the semester, which in this case is the Finding Resources assignment. So find where you submitted your resources assignment and pull that document up. Hopefully everybody completed that assignment. If you are unsure what you did with it, you can actually go back to Evaluation and Dropbox. And you can find, in my case, it's not showing those, but normally it'll say one file submitted, and you can click there and download your original file that you submitted. All right, here we are in this document. So for my purposes, I'm going to do a little random text here. So now I have some text to work with. But I want to talk about some of the formatting. I've made a checklist of things that I want to cover for you. I'm going to go through that checklist. It is important to know how to turn the ruler on. I actually believe I have the ruler on. And this is helpful up here as well. So I can type what I'm looking for up here in many cases, and it can take us directly there. So I hit show ruler, and now it's not there. So if I'm looking for it again, I can just go up here and type ruler. In this case, it is good to show the ruler. There's things you can do with that. For example, if I grab this top arrow, move that in. Oop, I didn't have anything highlighted. Let me Control Z that, undo. Let's do that again. If I grab the top arrow, it's going to indent the first line of what I have highlighted. That's not necessarily the way you want to do this for the assignment, but that is one way you can do that. Now, if I grab the, I'm going to pull this back over. I grab the bottom arrow. It does the rest of the characters. So I'm going to undo that. And if I grab the square here, it pulls everything over. And I'm going to Control Z and undo that. All right, just be familiar with the ruler there and know that you have some control there. Although I don't think you necessarily need to use the ruler for this assignment. I did want you to see how to cut the ruler on and off. View, it's also under view here. There's the actual checkbox. I used the help screen to find it, but you can also go to view and check or uncheck the ruler. Okay, next. Doing a save as. This particular assignment, it is important to always save your document with the right name. In this case, I'm going to do a browse. I want to go to, so it says to do first name, last name, and formatting for this assignment. That's how that should look. And it's automatically going to add the docx extension on there. Save. Sure, I'll allow it to do that. So now I have properly named my document. Much of this, one of the first things you often learn when working with a Word document is how to change the text. So you have basically choosing which font you want to use here, and then font size here. So I have everything highlighted in this case. One way I can highlight everything, if I literally want to highlight everything, is Control+A, but sometimes that highlights more than what you want, but that will highlight everything in the document. If I want to highlight something specific, obviously I can do that. But for now, I'm going to do Control-A. Everything's highlighted. I want to make sure that I'm aligned left. And there it is. So whatever's highlighted, of course, is going to meet this alignment right here. I might get into that some more when we talk about a title page here in a few minutes. Let's talk about, so we talked about left alignment, just so you can see some of the others right quick. This one is center, right align, and this one's kind of neat. Makes it look like a newspaper article where it's square on each side, but left align is generally what we want. Okay, this is kind of a neat trick. Of course, you can simply use the tab key to indent your first paragraph. And you'll see, like I mentioned earlier, that has moved over to a 1/2 inch. But here's something else I'd like for you to understand. I'm going to do a Control-A. And notice we have this paragraph. And if I click here, that gives us some additional paragraph settings. So from here, I can do first line indent and set that to 0.5. And automatically, each of those paragraphs is indented by 0.5. And if I start a new paragraph, it automatically starts that new paragraph indented by 0.5. So that can be really handy. Again, that's under paragraph. That brings up this page. And then this special. And first line indent 0.5. You can also adjust spacing here for paragraphs. Ideally, this document should be double spaced. So I can actually do that from here. So I'm gonna do let's see what happens if I just turn it on. It seemed to choose the paragraph I was in. I'm gonna undo that. I'm gonna do a Control-A because I want all of that to be double spaced. We're now double spaced. I'm gonna Control-Z that, undo it. And I'm just curious what it will do with everything highlighted here if I do it from here. And there we are. I'm going to Control-A, go back to spacing again, and take out this paragraph spacing. And okay. So essentially everything is double spaced at this point with no extra spacing between paragraphs. And that did set it there as well. Okay, there's spacing, paragraph spacing, margins can be taken care of under page layout, margins. So normal is 1s all the way around. This item called narrow sets everything at 0.5 all the way around, which means you can fit a little bit more on each page that way. Of course, if you're asked to write 5 pages, maybe you don't want a little bit more on each page. You want to just get to 5 pages as quick as you can. Nevertheless, that's how you adjust the margins. Again, layout, margins. Another problem I see from time to time, it's hard to get rid of, is coincidentally, this looks good right here. Sometimes you'll have a situation where it's adding spaces when you don't want it to. By default, sometimes you'll see something like this, like it might say 12 points after. Again, that's how you get rid of that. That can be handy. All right, next thing I want to mention is your header and footer. So to get the header and footer, I'm using my notes here, a couple ways to get there. You can actually go to the insert menu And on the insert menu, you have a header and footer group over here. And you can go to header or footer. And you can also just let's simply double click at the top or bottom of the page. I can double click here. I'm in the footer. Appears the header. Double click back on the main document to get back out. Double click on the header. I'm there. Double click on the main document to get back out. Insert. Header. And then you can actually choose what you like there. I am going to show an example of adding a page number at the bottom. I'm going to double click here. And when I do that, it automatically moves me to the header and footer tab at the top. And we go to page number. And I want the page number at the bottom of the page. And this can be kind of confusing. It looks like that's all the options there are, but scroll a little and we'll see some other options down here. I'm going to choose this page X of Y, which at this time, I'm going to Control Z that because I really want it in the center. Page number, bottom of page, scroll a little. There's page X of Y on the left. But look at this, here's page X of Y in the center. And there it is, my footer showing that. All right, we've already talked about margins. We've talked about centering here in a minute. Let's actually, there's a couple ways to do a cover page. There is actually under the insert tab, there's literally a cover page. Let's see what it does. Cover page. And it gives you some options here. Basic templates. Let's see what else we have down through here. I generally want to choose something that's fairly simple. Just know that those options are there. I'm going to choose one, but I think ultimately what I want to do is just use a manual. I just wanted to see you to see that that option is there. To fill those in. You're already familiar with doing this from doing the resume assignment. It's got my name in there already. There we are. So there's an example. Put the year in. I'm going to undo this. And the other way to do that, of course, is to go to the very start of your document, do insert, and we'll see page break right here. Then you have this whole first page to work with. I'm going to Control Z. Another way to do a page break, you've probably seen already, is Control and Enter. And we have that whole first page to work with. Many of you have, if you're using the content from a previous assignment to continue with this assignment, you may have a cover page already. But a couple of things I want to show you here. Let me do my page break again. So I'm going to say title of paper. This is exactly what you should have on here, but I'm more focused on showing you the formatting right now. How about this student name here? Class name. All right, so there's different things you may want to put there. For this example, that's what I'm putting. Getting back to centering, highlight, center. Lovely. This next step's kind of cool. You can work on manually trying to center it vertically. I'm going to undo what I just did there. You can also do this, which is really neat. If I can remember exactly where it's at. Let me go to paragraph. So we already have alignment centered there. Okay, I remembered where it's at. It's layout for this particular thing. So we're going to layout, and this item under paragraph is called this little corner thing here that you see. Each of these has one of those. Is called a dialog box launcher. And it looks like where I was at earlier, doesn't it? Oh, tricky finding these sometimes. I was doing paragraph. I want to do page setup. So layout, page setup, hit the dialog box launcher. And now I have a layout tab here. And now I have vertical alignment. So the key is, this, I've seen this cause trouble in past assignments. You should have highlighted what you want to center vertically. So I'm going to say center. And my title page is centered vertically and horizontally. The rest of my document is okay. So here's what has happened on some assignments in the past. Let me undo what I just did there. Nothing's highlighted. Now I'm going to go to page setup, dialog box launcher, layout, vertical alignment is centered, and okay. What happens is everything else in the rest of the document becomes vertically centered. So I'm at the end of the document and I'm trying to add my bibliography. And I'm like, I don't want that to be right there. I want that to be up at the top of the page. Why is it not at the top of the page? And I'm trying to think, how can I get that back up here? So I'll go here and I hit backspace. And then that's not working. So what caused the problem is when I originally worked with my title page and did the centering, I didn't have the specific content highlighted. So let me undo a few things. Now here we are. That is highlighted, so that's all that this next step is going to affect. I'm going to go to layout, page setup, the layout tab. I verify that what I'm wanting to work with is highlighted, vertical alignment, center. Okay, now I have a nice cover page, centered, and then the rest of my document is normal as it should be. Next, footnotes and endnotes. So somewhere in here, I want to say something about I want to show you that basically what I want to define for you is that a footnote turns out to be at the bottom of the page. An endnote ends up being at the very end of the paper. So just understand the difference in those two because they're not the same. Where can I find these items? References. So I go to references, you'll see insert footnote. You'll also see insert endnote. For most assignments, you're going to use the footnote. So we're asked to insert a footnote here. I want to put one here. So right there, I'm going to say insert footnote. It gives me a number 1. I guess in theory, I'm saying something about a sidebar, page header, sidebar. Wherever you insert that footnote, it then gives you a chance to type the associated material down at the bottom. You may not be asked to do one for this assignment. Let's just do an end note as well. So I'm gonna click here, insert endnote. This takes me essentially, this is an endnote. What happens if this document becomes longer? I keep typing more information. Actually, I only want to repeat these lines. So I keep typing, keep typing, keep typing. Look, my endnote stayed at the end of the document, but that footnote stayed at the end of the page where the footnote belongs. Any questions? If yes, please send me an email. I'll be glad to help. Next step on my checklist. We're almost done. That was endnotes and footnotes. Symbols, footnotes, notes, and references. We talked about footnotes already. Let's insert a symbol. I want to put a smiley face right here at the end of the document. Insert. Pictures. Stock images. What do I want to go with? There's a couple of smileys. I'm just going to type smile right here. Here's some I could use. Insert. That's a little big. I can make it a little smaller. Pulling that down. It'd be nice if it was just kind of a regular size. Nevertheless, there's one. That's one way you can do that. There's obviously a number of other ways you can do that. I'm gonna undo that. Let's see if the old traditional colon dash parentheses, that did not automatically change that. Let's see. Do you understand though? That's also the way you would insert a normal picture. You can insert a picture from your specific device. There's online pictures. You've also got shapes that you can insert. There's symbols. Where are the symbols? Shapes, icons, 3D models. Insert. We can always use the trusty search. Insert a symbol. Copyright is the one I was looking for. There you are. Different ways to do different things there to get symbols into your chart. On some assignments, you're asked to insert a smiley at the end. That's the way to do that. Hyperlinks. You've done this already. Nevertheless, you are asked to do it again on this assignment. So let's say if it said ETSU in the document, I can highlight that. Back to the insert tab, link. And right down here is where you put the address. Try to make sure anytime you ever insert a link, it's an active link, a good link. And to get to it from a Word document, you often have to hold the control key to click it. And that link should take you to the desired location. Next. Watermarks, an important part of some assignments we'll be doing this semester. That's under the Design tab. And Watermark is over here on the right. So, Watermark, you have these generic ones that go with it. You can search for some on office.com, or you can do custom watermark. Custom watermark, I'm going to do a picture watermark. It says to do something related to, I'm actually going to do an image search in this case. If I have a file on my computer, I can do that. I'm going to search for library. I like this symbol. I'm going to choose that and insert. And okay. And that's put a nice little watermark. Sometimes your watermark can be too dark. Do pay attention to what the watermark looks like. The page can almost be unreadable if the watermark is too dark. That's how you do a watermark. As a reminder, I could use search and type watermark right there. That could help me add a watermark there as well. Next. Obviously, very important. I encourage you to always do this, even if you're a great speller, to at least give you some feedback. Sometimes you're typing really quick, you're sleepy maybe. You can go to references. I'm sorry, it's not references, it's review. And you have spelling and grammar right here. So everything's spelled properly here. What if it wasn't? Do note also, if you catch it right away, you can right click and correct it. But at the end of finishing any document, before you turn it in, go to review, spelling and grammar, and make the appropriate changes. You might run into documents that is intentionally spelled a certain way. In this case, it didn't know I meant another because I really spelled it badly. I'm just going to do the old Seymour. Sometimes you just have to, at least it pointed it out. I can manually make the correction. Spelling and grammar. There's, correct that one. I'm gonna do it one more time, spelling and grammar. All looks good. Be sure to use that. And last but not least, you've done a little bit of this before, citations and bibliography. Again, I might want to go down and let it have its own page. I'm gonna go here, insert a page break. Again, I can do that from insert, page break, or I can do Control Enter, which actually, if you highlight that, it tells you that that's a way you can do that. Control Return. Here I am. Now I have a new page break. Oh, look. Somehow or another, from my earlier example. But now I know how to fix this. I think I'm going to highlight that. We go to Layout. I'm going to go to Page Setup, Layout. I want the vertical alignment here to be top. And OK. Let's see if that messed up my cover page. Yes, it did. Highlight, Layout, Page Setup. Hopefully it only does what I have highlighted. Center. Okay. Let's see what happened down here. This is one of those tricky situations. Okay, I'm glad you stuck to the end of the video so that you could see my error there. I'll probably have to figure out a way to add a note earlier. So I had the right idea earlier when I was talking about highlighting right here. It's the right idea, but not applied properly. Here's actually how that is done. So what I want to do now is for the whole document, I'm just going to say Control-A, everything's highlighted. I'm going to go to this, what did I call it earlier? My dialog box launcher. Under Layout, Page Setup. Here's what I meant to tell you is I had the right idea. I do want vertical alignment. Actually, I'm turning it off for everything right now. I want it to go back to the top. Now, back to here. Here's all I want to have highlighted. Here, layout. This is actually what matters right here. Instead of apply to whole document, I want it to apply to the selected text. So I was correct about it, the text being highlighted, but I missed this step, apply to selected text. Nevertheless, that is a nice feature to use on your cover page. Once I say okay, what happened? 1 second attempt, page setup, layout, apply to selected text, vertical alignment. I left this step out last time, center. Okay, now, honestly, I feel good about it because I feel like we did it right that time. Sometimes persistence is the key. Cover page, centered vertically, centered horizontally. And my other pages are normal. Looks like I have an empty page here that was unintended. I can click my insertion pointer that you may have learned from a previous section. For this particular guy, I want him left aligned. Delete button one couple of times. Gets that material back up here. Now I have a cover page. Here's my first page. And now down here is where I was wanting to do my works cited or bibliography. Let's see if that will automatically. So here we are, insert. Actually, references is what we want. So here's bibliography. Now I've been doing managed sources for a paper that I'm working on. So there's a lot of things here. When you look at this managed sources, you might find that it's empty, but you might also find that this is a very handy tool to use. So you can click on new, and then you can you're going to see a screen like this. It's going to let you choose what type of source you're creating. Lots of options there. And you fill in the details. You have a tag name to help you organize. And once those are created, for this particular paper, this is here. I'll close. And then when I insert my bibliography, it automatically puts that in there for me. Very handy tool. I think we're done. If you do have questions, please email me. My email address is in plenty of places. I've probably even emailed you a couple of times during the semester. And I hope you have a great week. Thank you.